I will send help, but I need to know what's going on. Can you say it again?
Yes, ma'am. My wife, my family, and bleeding.
A man's frantic 911 call leads to the discovery of his wife, her parents, and her aunt, all shot to death in their apartment.
That's a pretty unbelievable phone call to get. It's kind of shocking.
Immediately, suspicion turned to Gurpreet Singh, the man who placed that 911 call.
We knew it right from the beginning that he's the one who has done it.
I have the details of this disturbing case out of Ohio and how it ended. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. When the murders of 4 members of one family happened on April 28, 2019 in Westchester, Ohio, it was a stunning and sad case. Shalinderjit Kaur and her parents, Parmjit Kaur and Hakikat Singh Pannag, and Parmjit's sister, Amarjit Kaur, were found shot to death. Shalinderjit's husband, Gurpreet Singh, called 911.
Your wife and your family are doing what?
They're on the ground, they're bleeding.
Your wife? How many people are down?
My wife, my mom, my dad, and my aunt.
Who?
My wife, my dad, my mom, and my aunt.
Officers with the Westchester Police Department, of course, raced to the scene.
Saying someone's banging the doors. Okay. All right. Stay back here for me, okay? All right.
Police found Gurpreet Singh with his hands in the air, standing outside of the apartment.
Let me see your hands! Hands! All right, hands! Let me see your hands! Hands! Down on the ground! Down on the ground! Down on the ground! Lay on your belly!
Please, my wife, please.
All right. I got cover. You handcuff Marconi. Handcuff him.
No, everybody bleeding.
Handcuff him.
Is there anybody else in there except for your family?
No, my wife is everybody bleeding.
You got coverage on him? Come up here and get lethal coverage on him. Thank you.
My wife, please, my family.
That's a pretty unbelievable phone call to get. It's kind of shocking. You know, your first response is, "Are you serious?" And then when you find out how horrific the crime scene was and everything, you basically, it's an all hands on deck. We're get everybody in here, and we know right from the start we got to do our best on this case, just because of the complexities, and 4 victims is very unusual. And then all in one location like that. So it was definitely a shocking phone call to get.
The area that Westchester Police Chief Joel Herzog polices is a bedroom community north of Cincinnati, and it doesn't see a lot of violent crime.
And it was unusual. This was an apartment complex that the owners had done a lot of work to and fixed it up, and it became a very low call volume place. So for it to be at that location definitely was shocking, and shocked for the community. It had people, and very shocking for the Sikh community, because we have a decent number of Sikh population in Westchester, but it's not anything we have any issues with. We have a temple here, but there's never been any violence of this nature.
This quadruple murder case is so incredibly disturbing, but we're able to bring it to you because of sponsors like City Lips. City Lips is not a painful lip plumper that stings and burns. It will give you fuller, healthier, younger looking lips. City Lips uses clinically tested ingredients and soothing moisturizers. Just swipe it on clean, bare lips, and after a few minutes, you will experience the full effects of City Lips. To try City Lips, click the link in the description, scan the QR code on your screen, or go to citybeauty.com/LCCrimeFix. Use the code LAW15 for 15% off of your order. Inside the apartment, as I mentioned earlier, police found Gurpreet Singh's wife, Shalinderjit Kaur, her parents, Parmjit Kaur, and Hakikat Singh Pannag, and Parmjit's sister, Amarjit Kaur. All had been shot in the head several times.
Yes, sir. I'm going to get these cuffs off of you and get you in a car, okay? We're very sorry. What happened today, bud? What do you have any idea what happened here?
I go home. I walk inside. My wife, my mom, and my aunt are all on the ground, bleeding.
Do you know who may have done this?
The family were all members of the Sikh community. Amarjit just happened to be visiting from India.
She was really close to her sisters, her brothers, so that's why she was visiting there.
That is Amarjit's son, Jasdeep Hans.
Her original plan was to visit my other uncle in Maryland, then to Westchester, and then she was about to visit to California. So that was her plan, and she bought a lot of gifts for the kids also. So, but that's how it's gone.
Tell me about your mom. What was she like?
Oh, she was actually really calm, and she was I always figures like that. She was a god figure to me. She was nearly a god because every time, whenever I am in pain, I always look into her. So she always helping me. She was always uh, she was always helping us, everyone, and she was always soft spoken also. So, uh, yeah, she was really soft spoken.
Police launched a massive investigation at the apartment complex, trying to figure out who killed these family members in the apartment and why. But there was something that stood out about who wasn't in the home when this happened. Gurpreet and Shalinderjit's children were not there.
That was part of our case to look at. And as we followed through, it was very unusual for the kids not to be home at this hour on a Sunday, on a school night. Shalinderjit was very protective of her kids, and she was very, made sure their schooling was ready, their homework, they got a good night's sleep. So it was very unusual for them not to be home. And we were able to track records and phone calls and determine that she had made several calls requesting them to bring their kids home, but that we feel it was delayed because the crime had not occurred. So Gurpreet did not want his kids anywhere near the house and was having them keep them away.
Did he ever sit down and do an interview with law enforcement? Did he cooperate in the beginning?
No, I wouldn't say it was cooperation. He sat down with us the first night and then did not really cooperate with us at all. We had to get warrants for the gunshot residue kit in testing. And then his statement, other than his initial statement, was not consistent.
That interaction about evidence that might be on Gurpreet Singh was captured by police body cameras.
You have to sit down. Why? Because I asked you to.
Gurpreet Singh wanted to leave the police station, but officers wouldn't allow him to do so.
Why would I stay here? Sir, please.
I understand that, but there's no arguing about it. You're going to stay here, and that's final. That's it.
Okay, arrest me.
As soon as we get,
Arrest me.
you're under detain. You're in
No,
custody right now.
no, I don't understand detain or whatever.
Back into the room.
You arrest me?
Back into the room.
You need to get back in this room.
Look, he told me now that my family was shot. I thought it was an accident.
You thought what was an accident?
4 people died and you thought it was an
Yes,
accident?
I wasn't told anything.
Come on.
Sir,
Let's go.
please arrest
back in
me
here.
or let me go.
You're detained.
You arrest me or let me go.
You're detained. Come on in here.
I don't know what detain is.
That means
You
you're not allowed to leave.
5 guys are doing this to me. See? Look,
Listen, do you want to sit with your hands free, which I would prefer?
I will come back, sir.
Thank you.
I
don't
gotta
like
see my
handcuffs.
dad.
I understand.
Please let me.
Come on. Let's have a seat.
Please no. Why don't you just arrest me then?
Just have a seat.
Why not? Why not let me go?
Because I gotta get
Sir,
a
sir,
search warrant.
you're in full uniform, everything. Please take me in your car. And I come back with you.
Can't do that right now.
What kind of law is it? I mean, look how you guys are getting in a position like I am some threat to you, right?
No, but you can't leave. You're not allowed to leave.
Why?
Because we're getting a search warrant for evidence that is on you.
As Chief Herzog mentioned, Gurpreet Singh spoke to detectives for a time.
My name is Gurpreet Singh.
Okay. You go by Gary? Somebody told me to go by Gary.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to call you Gary. Is that okay?
Yeah.
This happened that evening and into the early morning hours of Monday. You heard Singh tell police that he goes by Gary. He went through his day. It was a Sunday, and he didn't go to temple as he usually would.
You didn't go to church today?
No, I was really, my back pain really bad.
Okay.
I play volleyball really hard.
Okay.
Singh was a long-haul truck driver, and he also didn't go to work that night as he usually would.
What took place when you called 911? It's very important to us to help us out.
I come back. I see my mom. Yes, I see my mom. And I see my wife. And I see my aunt. I see they bleed and they're on the ground. And I am just running to try to shake them, try to see. And I go inside my dad, I shake them, he bleeds. And no one talk. And then I call, just I call and I try to give them water. They don't drink. And I call and you come? No, one officer come. Yeah, I call 911. But sir, can you please tell me what happened and why all this?
Well, I don't know what happened. That's what we're trying to find out from you. What you saw, what you did today, where people were, just trying to get an idea.
The crime was absolutely shocking to people in Westchester. It's very heartbreaking. An entire family killed last night. We are out here at that apartment complex. There is a pond way back in the distance. The dive team has been searching that pond for quite some time. It looks like they're about to wrap up their work. I actually covered this case when I worked in local news in Cincinnati. Prayer vigils were held in Westchester and in India. They were praying that the killer would be found. Interestingly enough, less than 48 hours after the murders, divers found a gun believed to be the murder weapon in the pond that you saw me point to just a moment ago, right behind the apartment. I was actually there when those divers found the gun. News photographers could actually see divers pulling the gun out of the pond with their cameras. Even with evidence that seemed compelling like that, investigators still had to take time to piece the case together. Then on July 2nd, 2019, less than 3 months after the murders, police raced into a Walmart parking lot in Bradford, Connecticut, and they took Gurpreet Singh into custody. He immediately put his hands up, and he did not resist. From the beginning, many people believed that Gurpreet Singh had committed the murders, but he maintained he didn't do it. Singh pleaded not guilty to the charges, and the prosecutor announced that he would seek the death penalty against him. Singh's first trial in October 2022 ended in a mistrial after the jury deadlocked, with one juror holding out. His attorneys said the murders were the result of a professional hit by a land mafia in India that had a beef with Hakikat Pannag.
Well, that was something immediately, we had to look at, because there was accusations that there was land ties that were worth a considerable amount of money back in India. So we were prepared if we needed to. We'd send investigators to India. We'd work with the State Department, and what do we have to do? Whatever we have to do to make the case. When you have four citizens of Westchester that are brutally murdered, we're going to do whatever it takes.
Singh's second trial started last spring, and there was a shift in strategy. Singh waived his right to a trial by jury and opted for a 3-judge panel. And he was making a major admission at the second trial. After telling police he found his family dead, now Singh would say he actually witnessed the murders of his family members.
Did they present to you anything more than the fact that he was there? Or does the physical, does the scientific, does the background of this family show that while he was there, he did not pull the trigger? He could not have been the shooter, and the background proves that someone else orchestrated this crime, and that man did nothing more than witness the most horrific event in his life and made the critical mistake of lying about it.
Prosecutors presented evidence that Singh had a strained relationship with his in-laws and that he had a secret. That secret had a name, Hakikat Kaur.
Did your relationship at that point with Gurpreet become romantic?
After my divorce, yes.
Did it become intimate?
After my divorce, yes.
Prosecutors said Gurpreet Singh was living a double life, and that double life was very expensive.
Did he then pay $20,000 for the down payment of this house?
Yes.
So you were able to get the mortgage put in your name after that?
Yes.
Did Gurpreet offer to help pay for the monthly mortgage payments on the residence?
Yes.
Karan Kaur opted to not be photographed during the trial, which Ohio allows for witnesses. How significant was the affair that Gurpreet Singh was having? And when did you find out about that?
We found out actually probably pretty early on. It was pretty significant because it showed, it helps add to the motive. I don't think that was the only motive, but that helps add to a possible motive, because obviously when we want to follow the evidence, let the evidence lead us. We don't pick a suspect and build a case. We let the case build itself from the evidence. And that's what we did here, is just did research, investigations. And when you start doing phone records and you start finding these things out, when things aren't adding up and it shows a motive, that helps solidify the case.
In Singh's second trial, his defense team argued that he was there when the murders were committed, but that he wasn't the shooter. It was someone else that he didn't know. So why would they argue that?
He basically just said he came in and found them that way. And then he had walked around, checked everybody. That's why we might find, why he has blood from different people on him. And then he had called us, but he had told us he called us immediately. But we were able to, through GPS systems, through cameras in the neighborhood, cameras on businesses a mile or two away that he drove by to show where he was at, GPS on his vehicle, all that to pinpoint where he was at, what time, and show his timeline of what he said did not match. And from the time the gunshots were to the time he called us, that also didn't match up. So we were able to put all this together and then utilize witnesses that, when I say witnesses, that it wasn't a lot of seeing, nobody saw the crime occur, but someone maybe heard a gunshot, someone saw a person in the area around back, someone heard a splashing sound in the lake behind.
The lead detective testified at the second trial about when divers found the murder weapon.
When was the firearm found in relation to the homicides?
Homicide was approximately at 21:30 hours on the 28th. They started searching at 10:30, I believe, in the morning, 2 days afterwards on the 30th, and I think shortly before noon, like maybe 11:55, 11:58-ish, that day on the 30th, they found the gun. So they had searched for about an hour and a half and found the gun.
So divers found the gun after searching for only a short time.
Magazine is still in it. It was, in my experience, it was in the slide lock location, which means there were no more rounds in the gun. It was locked to the rear. That's how we found the gun, and that's how we kept the gun.
For the bucket that's beneath it, tell us what that is.
That is simply a 1-gallon bucket that we have on Westchester Police Department. We used that initially. We needed a larger bucket because it is too big for a 1-gallon bucket, so we ended up taking a BCI bucket, which is a 5-gallon bucket, which is right next to you, sir. We used that bucket to submerge the item. We don't want it to corrode or degrade any farther than what it already had.
And tell us what we're looking at here.
We are looking at a Ruger SR9 with the serial number plate removed from the gun. And a magazine with a magazine with a 17-round capacity.
That gun could hold 17 rounds. The coroner had testified that 16 rounds were fired, 4 at each victim. And the detective testified that efforts had been taken to hide the serial number.
You can see where the serial number normally is found. It's found on a silver plate. Looks like someone removed it by use of like a drill bit, like using small drill bits in order to just pop it out, and it was removed.
Gurpreet Singh's cousin also testified about his work schedule.
Were you familiar with Gurpreet's regular work schedule?
Yes, sir.
What was Gurpreet's regular work schedule?
Leave Sunday basically most of the time, unless the load's been canceled or something happened. But sort of most of the time Sunday he leaves and he'd be back, same thing, Friday nights.
That Sunday night, the night of the murders, Gurpreet Singh was not working. Nevertheless, Singh's defense argued that the land mafia theory was never properly investigated, and the only thing Singh did wrong was lie to the police about being in the apartment when his family was murdered.
I think this panel is wise enough to see that there are much more layers to this case, many unanswered questions, and suspects that were not ruled out, and the potential that Gurpreet may have been scared of something worse than the police and with complicated loyalties.
The three-judge panel deliberated for just 2 hours before reaching its verdicts.
Verdict, three-judge panel, specification 2 to count 1. We, the three-judge panel, having found Gurpreet Singh guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of aggravated murder as charged in count 1, unanimously find Gurpreet Singh guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of committing the aggravated murder as part of a course of conduct involving the purposeful killing of or attempted killing of 2 or more persons by him pursuant to revised code section 2929.04A5.
We knew it right from the beginning that he's the one that who has done it because he has a long history before that also. So he was suspect number 1 from day 1.
What is the long history? Tell me about that.
He was like he was continuously giving threats and all those things to our family. That's why we knew that he's the one.
What kind of threats?
Like he was always demanding money from our family. So even a few days ago, he beat Mr. Hakikat Singh Pannag. So that was also the reason that we got to know that he's the one. And then he was demanding money from India also. So that's why we knew it. He's the one.
It took the panel about as long to determine that Singh should receive a death sentence.
We, the three-judge panel, do hereby unanimously find that the aggravating circumstance that the defendant was found guilty of committing does outweigh the mitigating factors presented in this case by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. We, therefore, unanimously find that the sentence of death should be imposed upon Gurpreet Singh under count 1 of the indictment. And that verdict form is signed by all 3 judges.
It's been tough, and I really feel bad for the family members that had to endure that length of time, and then for the first trial to not go through. And then I will say I was shocked also when they picked a 3-judge panel, because right away then you think, okay, procedurally, is there something we missed? What can they point out? Because he does not have a good chance of judges. You can sway a juror, but to sway a judge is a much higher bar that you have to pass. So come to find out, we didn't. There was no procedural issues that we had, and I don't know why he made that decision, or as a defense team made that decision. But to get the guilty verdict, which we knew he was early on, that was a huge relief just for us, for the family, and it was just a really good feeling. I can't think of a more serious or more aggravating case that doesn't deserve the death penalty. I mean, there is some, but this is up there. When you brutally kill your 4 family members, and you premeditated do it, and it's over money and love, or whatever you want to call it. That's a horrible situation. So I think this case is fitting for the death penalty.
From the day 1, we had a belief in the police system. We had a belief in the American justice system. So we always followed whatever that the exact steps that were measured steps that they were taking. So we had a belief in them, and in the end, we went to the police station to thank them. They have done a lot of work. That was a tough case for them, so they have worked really hard.
And Jasdeep Singh has a message for anyone who might be in a bad relationship.
One thing I just want to make clear to everyone that's going into the tough situations or tough relationships, never push your relationship. If something is not going good, or if something is not going smooth in your relationship, so the best way is to get apart. So so that's why so that these things doesn't happen. So that's why I want to suggest everyone, if something is not going in good in your relationship, please get apart, or this will be the result.
Do you feel like Shalinderjit was staying with him because of the children?
Yes. So she was. We always we told her to get apart from him, but she was always saying that I have to live with him because of the kids. So she was living with this pain because of the kids.
Now, more than 5 years after the murders, Gurpreet Singh is in an Ohio prison and he's appealing his death sentence. Jasdeep Hans says Gurpreet and Shalinderjit's children are in school and they are doing well, considering everything that they've gone through. That's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thank you so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.